Jamie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Series 4 of Taskmaster New Zealand. I was going to wait until the whole series was out to talk about it, but the first two episodes were amazing and I just have so many thoughts already and so many things I want to talk about, so I've decided to do a review of the first two episodes of Taskmaster New Zealand Series 4. As with all of the Taskmaster New Zealand series we've had so far, I don't really know any of the contestants, which makes it quite fun going into it when you don't know anybody and don't know what to expect. But they've really nailed the format and they've grown so well and developed the series and the format so well that I do have so much excitement going into it because I know it's going to be good. And the first two episodes did not disappoint. And I'm willing to argue that these are probably the two strongest openers of the series that we've seen so far. They are absolutely fantastic. Normally it does take a little while to warm up to the contestants and their sense of humour and the dynamic between them all, but I definitely think they've nailed it straight away with this one, and the tasks have just been incredible. I'm not going to go too in depth into each episode. I'm just going to give my highlights of each one and what I feel I like about each task. So yeah, let's get straight into it, talking about episode number 1. If you haven't seen the show, again, I'm not really going to go into each contestant because I don't know really much about what they do outside of the show, but the contestants this series were Bubbah, Dai Henwood, Karen O'Leary, Melanie Bracewell and Ray O'Leary. They have just been all of them are really great, and they all have a really distinct character about themselves, and they all blend really well together. For the first prize task, it was the greatest orange thing, which is a pretty decent one to start with. It's vague but allows them to do something purposeful with that colour, and also it allows for lots of room, a different range of ideas, and I definitely feel like we got a good range. We got someone bringing in just an orange, which is kind of basic, but then putting this spin on it to talk about the story, and I didn't quite understand it personally. It didn't quite work for me, but I think it was quite inventive. Then we have kind of in the middle bringing in a coffee machine, which is a good prize, and then we have Ray spray tanning himself a very orange shade, which was really fun. And to just have the first episode, within the first 5 minutes, someone stripping down and doing something embarrassing, it just sets it up really well. You know you're going to be in for a fun time with this series. The first task we had, the knocking the bales off the wicket, I think this was a really good one to introduce a series for people who haven't seen Taskmaster before. If this is the first series that they're watching, it's quite a simple task, knocking something off from the furthest distance. That makes sense, and it again allows a lot of room for different ideas. We have people going straight in just trying to throw something from the furthest away, and then people being a bit more inventive with tying a string and pulling it to knock it off. The restriction on only having one attempt does make it more difficult, and it makes room for there being people getting caught out by it, which again, if you're a viewer for us seeing Bubbah get disqualified, and just because not disqualified, but having her attempt be her practice attempt because she didn't really understand what was going and ended up having a really bad score. That for us is quite funny. We've seen it happen before, but again, if it's your first time watching it, that's going to seem quite shocking that someone's that they have ruined their chances already by just doing their practice throw. I just thought it was a really good task to start off with. It was simple, it's very Taskmaster, and again, you've got those rooms for a little bit of drama and stuff. So yeah, it was really good. The second task was to do something unpredictable at the end of 500 seconds. This one I thought was quite good with the countdown to letting them do something unpredictable. I think there were quite a few different things they could have done here, and I did like the reveal of there being the predictions. I'll get into that in a little bit, but I did think that was quite good. It was very dramatic, and I thought that was really fun. I loved everyone's attempt at this. The highlight for me was definitely Mel, crawling around as a cat, drinking out of things, and then realising that she was way too early to be doing that, and that basically didn't count as her attempt. I thought that was hilarious. Bubbah tackling Paul was fantastic as well. It did kind of catch you off guard. And Karen kissing Paul was funny as well. I think, again, that kind of sets the tone for the series. And again, if you haven't seen Taskmaster before and seeing this poor assistant getting attacked and kissed and stuff, it does kind of it just kind of shows what the show is about. And again, I do always feel sorry for like Paul and Alex and all the other Taskmaster assistants when they get attacked or things like that. It was just really funny, and I'm a bit worried about what else they're going to do to him if they're doing this to him in the first episode. My only criticism of this task is I definitely feel like the people who did something that Paul predicted shouldn't have got any points, or maybe should have only got 1 point, because the fact that he predicted it means it wasn't unpredictable. I definitely feel like they should have been disqualified in some way. With something like Ray's attempt where he threw water on Paul, that could be something you debate whether or not it's an attack or something, but I definitely feel like, I love Bubbah, but I definitely feel like she should have got disqualified on that one because he predicted that she would do it, so it wasn't unpredictable. The next task was to be British, which I thought this was a really fun, creative task. It, again, allows them to be hilarious. It allows them to be creative and then forces them to think outside the box. I think it is quite a fun task. And I think, especially because I think they must know that a lot of people in the UK are watching the New Zealand version. So I just think it's really fun. And I think everybody's attempt was hilarious. There isn't really anybody's that I didn't like, but Bubbah's was definitely my favourite. The Love Island parody, I thought that was absolutely hilarious. I also really liked Ray's attempt, of course, with the Mary Poppins, Sherry Moppins thing. I thought that was genius. I thought it was so funny. I just love... Those two are definitely my strongest contestants so far. I did also like Dai's attempt. It was simple yet funny and kind of drew on a lot of quirky things about British culture, which I quite enjoyed. But overall, I thought this was a really funny task. It allows them to just be a bit creative and very silly, and I really enjoyed that. And Mel's obviously drawing on the colonial past of the UK, and I thought that was really funny. She did it in a really, really funny way. And last but certainly not least was the studio task, which was to don the surgical uniform correctly while keeping the balloon from falling from the floor. This I thought was, again, very classic Taskmaster studio task. It's kind of a bit embarrassing for the contestants that they're getting changed into these embarrassing outfits, and also the additional challenge of trying to balance a balloon and keep it above the ground. I thought that was a really good task, and I definitely feel like Ray has seen Taskmaster before, or he's just very inventive in thinking outside the box straight away. But throwing the balloon to the audience was such a Rod Gilbert move. I thought it was so good, I thought it was even funnier that Mel managed to beat him without bending the rules in any way, even though he didn't really bend. It is fully in the rules, but the fact that Mel managed to beat him while actually balancing the balloon herself, just fantastic. The second episode was somehow even better than the first one, in my opinion. I wasn't, the first episode was so strong, I was expecting that to kind of be the highlight, but it just got even stronger. And straight away from the prize task, I don't think we've had a series that has surprised me in the prize task so many times, and we're only 2 episodes in. So the prize task this time was to bring in the most unbelievable thing, straight away, Bubbah's tattoo. Just insane. It's incredible how somebody has managed to beat the surprise that I had when Josh Widdicombe got his tattoo. I just thought this was incredible, and I really enjoyed everybody else's ones here as well, but I did quite like Ray's backflip. It was very obvious that it wasn't him, obviously, but I liked that idea. I liked that he's really thinking outside the box. Just fantastic. It's just incredible. We also had our first team task this episode, and it was to make the most impressive windmill. I do quite like the way that the teams are organised. I think the team of 2 is going to be chaotic over the rest of the series. And I quite like the team of 3 as well. You've got a good mix of different personalities, and I can imagine they might clash a bit. In a fun way. Yes, quite a lot of strong voices in there. I loved how Dai immediately took the lead. I thought he was really, really good at having the idea to time things so they knew exactly when to press things down, and coordinating who was pressing things at each time. I thought he was fantastic. I think without him doing that, they probably would have struggled quite a bit. So I definitely think he had the best idea there, and did it in a way that he wasn't taking over the team, but he kind of had his role and was helping everybody else do their role as well. I just thought he was really, really good in this one. I did think the rules here were a bit confusing. It did take me a while to kind of understand exactly what the rules were. Again, like once I've read the rules of the task, it does make a lot more sense. But as a viewer, I was like, wait, what do they need to do? Like, what's this with the toast? But I generally really did like this, the idea of you can only do it once there's toast, like continuously there's toast in the toaster. And then they also got that time limit of like, this is the only bread that they've got to use. They could have probably gone and got some more bread if they needed extra time. But neither team really needed to do that or could do that. So yeah, I quite like that. When it comes to team tasks, there's always going to be one team that is slightly disadvantaged. And I definitely think this was the team of 2 in this one, because with the rule being you can't have consecutive people using doing the toaster. The team of 2 could have just set one person aside to bring the windmill where the other 2 did the toaster, whereas that was a bit more difficult for the team of 2 since they had to keep swapping who was doing the toaster. In the end, it didn't really matter because they got out so quickly, but I definitely feel like that could have been an issue for them. I did feel bad for Mel and Ray when they got out so quickly and just their poor one little cross that they managed to make. I did feel bad for them, but yeah, it was quite funny. So yeah, the team of 3 did absolutely incredible. They weren't going to beat them anyway. But yeah, I just thought this was a really good task. I did really enjoy this one. And I always love when the teams meet for the first time, and the fact that Bubbah just didn't seem to understand that there would be team tasks. That baffled me. It's like, it's kind of funny when somebody might not have seen the show before and kind of what they're getting into, and if that is the case, if she hasn't seen the show, then she is doing a fantastic job of fitting the vibe and the style of the show like incredibly easily from the start. The next task was to blow out the candle in the most bold and beautiful way. This task is something we've seen very different variations of in different series. I did quite like it. I think it was quite fun, a bit challenging for people to do something quite simple in a very creative way. I think personally my favourite was Dai's. I quite liked his weird therapist hypnotising thing and dropping the kumquat or whatever he said it was onto the candle. I thought that was quite fun. I did really enjoy that one, and it led to the title episode, which was I'm a Therapist, Not a Greengrocer, which I thought was an hilarious title. I thought that was really, really funny. Mel's attempt is also very fun. I'm kind of liking this thing that we've got where each episode she's playing a different animal. I hope that continues. And I did again feel bad for Bubbah for getting caught out on this one, accidentally blowing out the candle before she intended to. I do feel like her attempt would have been really good if she actually managed to do it. I thought it was quite cinematic and quite interesting to look at when she was doing like her this is what it should have been attempt. So yeah, it does suck that she did get caught out on that one. And then we have my favourite task so far, which was to put the bowl of glitter in the fridge. Now there's so many fun things about this one. So first of all, it is a really challenging task to, move a bowl of glitter that's been on the ceiling to the fridge in a different room. I feel like that would have been really, really difficult. And I loved the setup with Paul making them hold the bowl on the ceiling, and then realising that it wasn't actually a bowl of glitter and it was in fact glued to the ceiling, because I know I would have been stood there for ages, like being really scared to move that stick. And I think Karen was definitely the one who got caught out the most. I feel like my attempt probably would have been closest to hers out of everybody else. I just thought this was a brilliant setup, just testing them, how long it would take them to realise that it was glued to the ceiling and wasn't actually on the stick. I just thought it was a really, really good setup. It was a great twist, and I absolutely loved it. I think everybody's attempt, once they realised it was not on the ceiling, was quite similar, so it did kind of lead to that. It was just kind of a test of how quickly they could find the glitter after they realised that wasn't the bowl. So that was really, really fun. And then of course it led to the moment that Bubbah spent half an hour looking for the bowl of glitter that she managed to walk past so many times and was searching the kitchen for, when it was just right there on the countertop in bright pink. I just thought it was so brilliant. I loved it. It's giving me David Correos vibes. I thought it was just absolutely fantastic, and I can imagine her going away from that being that wasn't there. Someone put that there afterwards because, you know, everybody has that when they're looking for something and they just cannot see it even though it's right in front of them. And I think it's, the fact that it happened on the show, searching for something so bright and colourful, was just really hilarious. And the fact that she was going out into the gardens and searching all around the house and the grounds for it was just hilarious. I don't know how Paul managed to keep it together watching that, but yeah, just fantastic stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a task that they maybe try to replicate in the UK one, because especially the holding the glitter on the, like holding it up on the ceiling, I thought that was genius. And I'd love to see different people's attempts at that, because New Zealand, I don't know how they're coming up with such creative tasks without taking any from the different versions, or at least not taking many. I just think, it's just so good. They have managed to keep it fresh and exciting consistently, and it's just fantastic. I just love it so much. The studio task, I think, was kind of a basic studio task, going behind a curtain and doing one of 3 things that Jeremy had to then guess. It's fine. It's kind of a basic, as I said, basic studio task, but still very fun. I think overall these 2 episodes have just been so exciting, so fun and shocking, and it just makes me even more excited for the rest of the series. I was already excited for it anyway because the New Zealand Taskmaster has been so consistently great the entire time it's been on. So I was very excited for it anyway, but I cannot wait to see what everybody else does and what all the other tasks could be, because so far it's been absolutely amazing and just so hilarious. It's so good. I do think it is quite interesting to have a series air 2 episodes at a time. So I believe it's airing like one day after each other, but like 2 episodes a week. I think to do with like scheduling issues with like the channel. So I think that's quite interesting. It is quite exciting that you get 2 episodes at a time, but then it only runs for 5 weeks. So it's kind of like bittersweet, but I cannot wait for the next 2 episodes. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like. It really helps the channel, and comment down below your thoughts on the 4th season of Taskmaster New Zealand, and subscribe if you want to see more videos to do with Taskmaster. I'll have some more out for you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!